Welcome to Life in Balance. In this episode, we will talk with Al Silverio and his journey to a healthier lifestyle. We will learn how to cook a healthy dessert with blind chef Jackie Cabrera, and we will do more yoga poses with Geri Cepeda, all in this episode of Life in Balance. Happy day and welcome to this episode of Life in Balance. In this episode, we feature a great person who I had the pleasure and honor to meet from public health. This is Al Silverio. Hi, Al. How are you?
Happy day, Louise. I'm doing good. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. You know, when we get together, we talk about many things when we have our retreats or our events. But today we're going to do a one-on-one personal discussion between you and I with your journey with diabetes. So first of all, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself, where you work. And
Thank you, and thank you everyone. My name is Al Silverio. I am 61 years old. I work at the Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services, and I manage several grants under the Guam Office of Minority Health. And I've been there for about 12 years now and had worked over at the University of Guam prior to that. And now I'm here in front of you, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh, so you've been with public health for 12 years?
Yes, I have.
Wow. Okay, so let's go back to the day that you were diagnosed as a diabetic. Do you remember that day?
Vividly,
Okay.
Louise. It was almost exactly 3 years ago to this day, where I had gone on a hike with some of my public health staff members, and I was a little bit upset at some other people who are not being observant of the Manangan Hills Valley area, the sanctity of it. And I had spoken unfavorably of these people. And I was warned at the spot, please don't use that language here, Al, because this is sacred land. I didn't heed that, and within minutes, Louise, my feet, both feet became red, and it looked like bacon. Like I dipped my feet in hot boiling oil. Within 30 minutes, I had to go back to the vehicle and just stop. After 2 weeks of ignoring it and putting all the creams and coconut oil and all the things people say you should put on, things like that, I decided to go to the hospital. And I asked my 84-year-old mother to drive me because I couldn't drive. And I called in advance. I said, my name's Al Silverio. I'm coming down. Can I please walk myself into the emergency room? And they were so good. They said, sure. So I did. And they said, there's something wrong with my feet. They said, oh, that's something we have to check into. I was admitted, had lab work done. I was diagnosed with cellulitis. Oh, and by the way, you also have adult type 2 diabetes. Oh. I had no idea at that time.
And by the way,
yes.
Just like it's something that you were supposed to accept right away.
Yes.
So were there any symptoms that led you to believe that other than your feet?
No. Like many people, I was asymptomatic for diabetes. I ate way too much of the wrong foods, fatty, sugary, salty foods, all the time around the clock. Lack of exercise. I had been smoking and drinking and been sedentary for most of my life. And I was in an unusual position working at public health. I promoted healthier living, right? I would be the person talking about losing weight and cancer prevention and diabetes prevention and awareness and obesity tips to observe if you want to be healthy. But I was often the largest, biggest, unhealthiest person in the room.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I was going to say, because you were on this hike and you were getting upset about the sanctity of that, did you at any one point think that maybe that was a spiritual reaction to what it was? Did you ever think that?
Absolutely. And I wasn't 100% convinced until my doctors, 3 of them said, after you get discharged, go back and apologize. because that will help with the healing process. And the day I was discharged, I went back to Meningan Hills, and I kind of said, oh yeah, I'm really sorry. But I had to be more sincere than that, right?
Yeah, you asked for forgiveness.
And it was healed within 1 week.
But you know what? I'm thinking spiritually, though, maybe it was an intervention too, because if that not had happened, maybe you still would have been ignoring the fact that there's something else going on inside you that you didn't know about if it weren't for that.
Absolutely, and those things that I was ignoring are things many people unfortunately ignore unbeknownst to them. For example, there's no way I could have known that my blood sugar was 1400, right? 1800, you called the ambulance, right? But I was 1400, and my A1C, for those of you who know numbers, right, was 16. And that's like, you die.
See, that's, so I'm shocked because I know how significant those numbers are. Some people don't know that. So what is a normal blood sugar then?
For adults my age, as a man, 90 to 105.
And you had?
1400.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, that's almost unthinkable, right?
Yeah, and then the A1C, what is a normal?
14 to 16, normal is 5.0.
5.0.
That's actually healthy, and that's where I am now. 5.0. Just took my blood sugar this morning.
Wow.
Sure,
I mean, it's unbelievable that you were still walking around, talking, doing things. Yes. Did you find yourself more fatigued, or, I mean, did you just disregard those symptoms, or, I mean, were those symptoms even there?
Those symptoms were not there. That's why I went hiking, right? Because I felt I was fine. Yes, I felt heavy and I felt fatigued sometimes, but it never dawned on me that I could even remotely be diagnosed with diabetes. And how could I be that? And that speaks to many people, I believe, who may be in denial or think that they will never become diabetic, but in fact they already are.
Okay, let's get to the part where they diagnosed you. What's the first thing that went through your mind?
The first thing was, I will not tell a soul.
Really?
This will be between my doctors and me. I am so embarrassed.
Were you ashamed?
Oh, the shame and stigma was clearly there. I said, I am not telling a soul. I'm not telling my sisters, my brothers, my family. This stays in this room between my doctors and me. And Louise, that lasted about 30 minutes.
It's hard to change your lifestyle if you're doing it on your own, right? And you need support.
I came to that realization. You're absolutely right. Yes.
Okay, so then what? Your doctors recommended you to go on insulin? Did you have to go on insulin?
Way more than that. They had already scheduled dialysis for me.
Oh, wow.
And they had ordered a $40,000 hyperbaric bed to be delivered at my home upon discharge. And I didn't know what a hyperbaric bed was. It's this big bed for big, heavy people that you could lift and tilt, right, and move sideways so that people can administer care for you. And I thought, wait a minute, dialysis, and they said, 5 to 6 times a week for 7 to 8 hours a day. That meant I could not work. And I thought, if I can't work, I won't have insurance. And without insurance, I won't have dialysis. So what are my options here? And the options very clearly came to me, I believe, as you said, spiritually. Those voices around the universe kind of tell you and guide you to go somewhere. They said, Al, you got to do something now. Gotta do something now. So that same day, I decided I'll look on my cell phone, look through the facts and the myths about diabetes, ask the experts, and make those changes. And
you made those changes. Look at you.
I did. For folks who don't know me, I was 402 pounds.
Now you're?
I'm 225 now.
Yay!
Yeah. So
and what are your numbers? What are your blood sugar numbers and your A1C?
Right now, my blood sugar varies from 90 to 105, the normal rate, and my A1C is 5.0. Right?
Wow.
I'm able to pick up coins from the ground.
You never were able to do that before. We take things like that for granted sometimes,
you know?
I just want to say how proud I am of you.
And thank you, Louise. It's been a long journey.
I'm sure it wasn't easy, though, to get to where you're at now. And if there's something that can help, maybe you can tell the public, to inspire them that how important life is and those life changes that you need to make.
Right on. We only have one chance in our life, right? One chance. And sometimes we're given two, or we're given a new start. And it took me a long time to realize that there are 3 things that I had learned all this time that I never applied. Desire, belief, and expectation. You have the desire to change, and the belief in yourself that you can do this, and to expect no less than that wholesale change in your health. And unless and until you embrace those things, the will and the resolve to turn your life around won't manifest itself.
Thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show
you,
today. Thank you for
Louise.
being an
Thank you.
inspiration
And
to
thank you
us
as
all.
well.
And if maybe someday we can have you back on again and we can talk about some of those specific changes that you made in your life as far as food and exercise.
Sure.
But for now, just continue to inspire people in what you do. Thank you
my
so
goodness.
much.
And thank you as well, Louise. Thank you.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. And that's Alex Silverio, and we want to thank him so much. Stay tuned. We'll figure out how to eat healthy and exercise to change your lifestyle.
Happy day! It's me again, Jackie Cabrera, here to introduce some diabetic-friendly desserts in honor of Diabetes Awareness Month in November. So today I'm going to prepare for you a pistachio fruit salad. So one of the things I'm going to do right now is I am going to measure out. I am putting some walnuts and some pecans in them, and I'm going to put a half cup of each because I'm going to double my batch. So as I'm looking for my cups, this is how I've got my 1 cup, 3/4, 2/3, 1/2, 1/3, and 1/4. A lot of people always get curious about how does a totally blind person or even a blind or visually impaired person know how to get their stuff. A lot of it is by feel, and I'm in the kitchen a lot, so I found a lot of creative ways to be able to distinguish. And one of them is I have 2 canisters here, which is for my walnuts and my pecans. And whenever my nieces and nephews come over and they want to help, I have them actually cut out letters for me. So they're on Velcros, big Velcros, and so like this is the letter P. I'm able to feel all the letters they cut out. So this stands for pecans. And so I'm going to measure out a half cup of pecans. And I'm going to just put them in my bowl right here. And I'm going to take a half cup as well as the walnuts. I don't really like to mash the nuts with the mallet because sometimes it becomes too soft, and I like them to be more coarse, so that's why I like to chop. And I don't like to buy them already chopped because as far as price is concerned, it's a lot better to buy them whole and then just cut them up whenever you need it, and it keeps it more fresh. So we're going to chop this up. So I've just got these nuts all on my board, and I'm just going to coarsely chop. It doesn't have to be fine, it doesn't have to be, because I like texture in my fruit salad. So I have my glass bowl right here. I am now going to dump all my fruit salad stuff in here. I've got my 2 boxes of sugar-free instant pistachio pudding. And if you haven't tried it, it's actually pretty good. And so for our ingredients, you had seen me, I had put 2 boxes of sugar-free instant pistachio pudding. And so I also have some marshmallows here that I need to finish cutting up. And these are all sugar-free stuff. So this is sugar-free marshmallows, and this is actually a caramel burnt one. So if you can find flavors there, that would be great. But even just the regular sugar-free miniature marshmallows will do just fine. And I have 1 banana, which I will be slicing up. I also have here a 20 ounces crushed pineapple. It's got to be crushed because that way it's going to get married to the instant pudding. And then we also have a 15-ounce can of mandarins. And I also have some unsweetened coconut, and I have some walnuts and pecans that are chopped up. And I have maragino's here on the side, it's just for garnish to make it look a little bit more festive. And I will have this lemon here because I am going to slice my bananas and put them in there so to keep the bananas from browning. And so now what I'm going to do is I am actually going to slice my bananas. Paring knife here. So you just need 1 banana. You don't have to put the banana in, but I love bananas, so they're pretty good, and it actually tastes really well with pistachios, the pistachio pudding and pineapples. And I am going to slice them up. I'm actually just doing my hands because it's just faster. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the nice thing about this salad. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's kind of like a dump-in salad. So now I've squeezed the lemon into the bananas, the sliced bananas, and the lemon will help keep it from oxidizing, turning brown and stuff. So I'm just gonna let this get married in here. So I'm opening up now the can of 20 ounces crushed pineapple. So I am going to now dump the crushed pineapples into the instant pudding right here. And so now I'm actually just mixing the crushed pineapple in with its juice. Do not drain the juice. And I gotta use my hands to help me with my spatula to mix this well. And so now I'm actually going to open up the can of mandarins, and you gotta be right. Oh, and this is the one with the flip top. That's the nice thing. I'm so used to just opening all the cans. On the mandarins, we're gonna strain it. We don't need the juice on the mandarins. So I just strained it into a plastic colander. And I'm gonna just use my hands. And you notice I have to use my hands a lot because my hands are my eyes. Now I got the mandarins in there. And I'm just folding it over so I don't break the mandarins up. I don't want to stir it hard. So I've got my chopped, half cup of chopped pecans and a half cup of chopped walnuts. Yep, chopped them up with my knife, and I'm putting them in here. I love a lot of nuts, so that's why I put 1 cup inside here. And then again, I am just going to fold this over and take some of my marshmallows, my sugar-free marshmallows here. This one is a caramel burnt one. It has a really nice flavor. It doesn't even taste like they're sugar-free. So I am just folding them all over again. And what I'm gonna do for this one, I'm gonna just go ahead and throw in my bananas. It's nice that you have like all the natural sweetness. And the mandarins were all in was in a very light syrup. This is also a nice salad for back home in Guam because it's very refreshing, especially when you just take it out from the refrigerator. So this is kind of like a dump salad, a dump pistachio salad. And I have here some unsweetened coconut, and it's actually optional if you want to put coconut in it or not. But I love coconut, so anything coconut for me. I'm only going to use a half cup because then I'll put some on the top. So I just am measuring out right now 1/4 of unsweetened coconut, coconut flakes. So after putting this pudding, all the fruits and stuff in here, I am actually going to take the Cool Whip. So here in my hands right now, I have a sugar-free whip topping, Cool Whip. And there we go. So I am just dumping it in. And I'm going to fold it little by little. Okay, so we have folded already the sugar-free Cool Whip or whip topping onto this, and it's all marrying right now. So I am just kind of smoothing it out a little bit. It's not going to be a perfect or a flat smooth because it is a fruit salad. Now what I'm going to do is I am actually going to just sprinkle a little bit of the unsweetened coconut around on the top. And I took another 1/4 cup and I'm pouring it into my hand just because it's easier for me to go around and around my bowl. And I'm going to get my nuts. These are the last of my nuts. And I am going to sprinkle it all around. So with the half cup of walnuts and the half cup of pecans, that's basically, I just left a little bit left over. And I am just going to drop in a few cherries. Boom, boom. Just like 5 cherries, just to kind of, it's for the house. And there you have it. This is a pistachio fruit salad. Again, these are all sugar-free. Instant pudding, pistachio instant pudding, and it is sugar-free as well as sugar-free whip topping. unsweetened coconut flakes. You have your can of crushed pineapples, a 20 ounce, and then you also have your can of mandarins with it drained. And miniature marshmallows. You can use just the regular as long as it's sugar-free, and this will soothe your quench, especially on a hot day.
Up next, it's yoga with Geri Cepeda at the beautiful Akanta Business Center.
Hi, thanks for joining me. The next yoga sequence will focus on mat work, so we'll be spending all our poses here on the mat. If you have a yoga block or even just a towel that you folded up, it's really helpful to put this right under your seat for the next few poses. Take an inhale here in this simple, easy cross-legged pose. Remember to think about having your shoulders back and down. Inhaling here and exhaling. You can bring your arms overhead for a simple overhead stretch and bring it back down in front of you. I'm next going to take you through a stretch on the side, so facing the short side of the mat. You can keep this on the side or you can stay seated. Gently lean forward. You don't have to worry about touching your toes, but keeping your back straight and slowly leaning forward. Only as much as you're comfortable, inhaling and exhaling. You can come up for a breath and lean a little further if you'd like to try. If you can touch your toes, that's great. Otherwise, keep it on the side and come back up. Sitting again, cross-legged in front with your towel or your block underneath you. I invite you to take another deep breath here and slowly twist to one side. You can bring your hand to your other knee and your hand behind you as you sit up with an inhale and exhale, look to the side or even to the back. Only as much as you're able. Take another deep breath as we switch sides. Hand on your knee, hand behind you. Inhale to reach up and exhale, looking to the side or the back. You can repeat these as much as you like. Next is what is called bound angle pose, bringing your feet, the soles of your feet together like a book. If you need to bring your feet further to the front, that's fine too. And like with the forward fold, inhaling and just bending as much as you're able, not pushing anything, not hurting yourself. You can put your hands on your feet or on the side for a little more support. Inhaling and leaning forward, coming back up when you're ready. I like to go to table pose next, so go ahead, swing your feet around. You won't need your towel. Think about a stable table with 4 legs. Slowly think about, as we move to plank pose, sliding one foot back and the other foot back. In high plank pose, you may find it challenging if it hurts your wrists, so you can bring your knees down, or you can even do this from your forearms, bringing your feet up here and thinking about making a straight line from your head down to your feet. Taking an inhale here, resting as you need to. If you'd like to try plank from your hands, again, you can do this from your knees or fully with lifting your knees, thinking about pushing the mat away. Taking breaths here, looking down, looking maybe a little bit in front of you, only as much as you're able, bringing your knees down when you're ready, into table pose, and doing a round of cow and cat. With cow, think about dropping your belly, inhaling, looking up, exhaling into Halloween cat. This is a really good stretch for your back, inhaling and exhaling, and ending with child's pose, pushing back to your heels, leaving your hands in front of you as you look down, putting your hands in fists and resting your forehead. Taking that deep breath, coming up when you're ready, and we'll end with a nice seated easy pose, inhaling here, exhaling. Thanks for joining me.